Yes, I am very excited. Live Your Life and Other Stories. The word stories is a key component of my life. I am often asked, why do you concentrate on short stories? Why not novels? Why are you not a poet? What is it for you about short stories? I write short stories because I have spent much of my life reading short stories. I started, when I was 12 years old, reading Guy de Maupassant's The Necklace. And it was emphasized to my 7th grade class that this was an example of a perfect short story. There was an arc. There's a main character who is in quite a dire situation, and she learns something about herself. The thing is, I've written stories and I think they're good stories. And yes, you learn about the craft as you're doing it. But with short stories, each time you start, you have to again establish from the outset, the tone, the characterization, the plot, the pacing. And you have to have all of this in place with the very first word in the story. So I feel I could spend my life reading, writing short stories, and there will still always be something for me to learn. I don't ever think I'll be at the end of the journey.
What are some of the themes of your book?
The title story, Live Your Life, deals with an actor on a soap opera. He portrays a doctor, and he chooses very deliberately to blur the line between this doctor he plays on a soap opera called Live Your Life and the man he is in real life. So of course this is a bit farcical, but to some extent we all do that. The book is divided into 2 parts. The first section is called Live Your Life, and in this section I tried to cast the net very widely. There are people from all walks of life. There's a lawyer, a hairdresser, a house painter, a phone solicitor. They differ. Their socioeconomic backgrounds differ quite a bit. And yet, as they live their lives, the person they present to the world is not who he or she really is. Sometimes they're aware of that and sometimes they're not. The second half of Live Your Life takes place in Hancock, USA. Hancock, USA is a small college town. Hancock College is considered to be a very good liberal arts college, an undergraduate institution. We meet, the dean and the dean's wife, an emeritus professor. We meet a student who's having an affair with a professor. We meet a young woman who is weighing, the costs and losses of going through a tenure process. So they're all living in the same town. So there are things that unite them. They eat at the same places. Many of the conversations, overlap. And so we have these linked short stories where we learn bits and pieces about these people and all the stories, but they take center stage in their own stories. In academic towns, those myths of life, the things we tell ourselves in order to live our lives, some will be the same. However, each of these characters learns something about themselves that deals only with him or herself. So a big challenge is honoring the whole, but never failing to miss what makes each person live their lives. In terms of where I am right now as a writer, I'm very, very grateful to be a member of Wising Up Press, and it's been a real honor to serve as the chair of the editorial collective. And one of the things we discuss quite a bit is while you're writing, you want to think about the types of conversation that you would like your writing to produce. And if you start there, that really makes you aware of why you're writing as well. What do you want to do with that writing? You're hoping to make a connection with people. So when you start there, you're very, very mindful of who reads, of who listens, of the reason why you sit down at a laptop and hopefully have a good day.